Alright, we are going to do 8.5 notes today, so we're solving quadratics today by factoring. And there are some steps for you to do. I'm going to give you some extra things to make note of, and then we'll do a few problems, and then you will do your own. Okay, so we're trying to find, again, the roots, zeros, the x-intercepts of a quadratic equation by factoring, rather than graphing it. So a lot of times you're not going to be able to graph it, you're going to have to factor it. So follow the steps. And so the very first step is set the quadratic equation to 0, and the first ones are already going to be equal to 0. So as long as you have your x squared, and then your x, and then whatever your constant is, if there is one, you're just going to say equals 0. Okay, so that one's equal to 0 already. And then what you're going to do is you're going to factor the left side. So what we're doing is we're factoring. So we're going to make a table right here. So make a table. And one thing to note is on here, which I'm going to put over on the side, is you have your equation. So ax squared plus bx plus c, and it's going to equal to 0. So when you are doing this, it's going to multiply to get to your constant, and then it's going to add to get to your middle term. Okay, so in this question over here, you're going to multiply to get to -10, and you're going to add to get to +3. So the best way that I know how to do this is to make a table of things that multiply to get to -10, or just 10 right now, and we'll fix the signs later. So you have 1 times 10, and then we have 2 times 5. And those are the only things that are going to multiply to get to 10. So then what we have to do is we have to think of things, these pairs, when we change our signs, that they have to equal 3 when you add them together. So if you add these two numbers together, 1 plus 10, no matter what kind of signs you put together, you're not going to get 3. But 2 and 5, you can get to 3. So then we have to fix our signs with these two numbers. So when you're going to factor it, you're going to say that it's going to be x. So make these two little brackets right here, and it's going to equal 0. So in our first box, it's kind of like when we did FOIL in our last one, x and x. So x times x is going to be x squared. And then again, what multiplies to get to 10 and adds to get to 3. So no matter what, we're going to have a 5 in here, and we're going to have a 2 in here. So now we just have to figure out our signs. So what combination can we do to make 5 and 2 add to get to 3? So it's a +3, so I want this to be my positive, so +5 and -2. So x plus 5 and x minus 2. So I'm just going to kind of divide this up right here, because now these are going to become two different equations. So I'm going to set them equal to 0, so x plus 5 equals 0, which is again my step 3. So set each factor equal to 0 and solve the factor for x. I'm going to solve for x. So I'm going to subtract 5 on each side. So x is equal to -5. And that's one of my answers right there. So it's one of my zeros. So I'm going to set this one, x minus 2 equals 0. Add 2 to each side. So x is equal to 2. And number 4 says write your answer using the braces. So you're going to write these. Oops. So it's going to be -5, comma 2, and those are my zeros. Alright, we're going to do a few. I'm going to do the odd ones, and then I will give you guys a chance to do the even ones, and then you guys can check your answer after you do it after the video. So I definitely suggest doing that. Okay, so these ones are all kind of exactly like this one that's set up. It's already equal to 0 here. So the very first thing I have to do is factor. Okay, so when I factor, I'm going to make a table. So again, it's going to multiply to get to 3, and then it's going to add to get to 4. So my only factor, or my multiplication, is going to be 1 times 3, and I can fix my signs later. So again, make your two brackets, your parentheses, equal to 0. X and x, and then 1 and 3. Okay, so then it has to equal to 4. So in this case, it's going to be plus, because 3 plus 1 is going to be 4. So again, set them each side now equal to 0, so x plus 1 equals 0. Subtract 1 on both sides, and x equals -1. Set the right side equal to 0, subtract 3, x minus 3, x equals -3. So my solution is -1, -3. Alright. So I will do number 2. It looks exactly like that. I'll give you the answer here. So this is your x equals. So here x equals, it's going to be -8 and -3. So try that one to see if you get that same exact thing. Alright, number 3. Again, it's already equal to 0. So it has to multiply to get to -2, or I'm just going to do 2, and then it's going to add to get to 1. So here, it's going to be 1 times 2. 2 parentheses equals 0. Begins with x. Put my 1 and my 2 in there. Now I'm going to fix my sign. Again, it's going to equal to +1 and then -2. So +1 is going to give me here. So I'm going to put +2 minus 1. X minus 1 equals 0. Add 1. X equals 1. Subtract 2 here. And x equals -2. So my answers, sorry, my braces are all messed up. Okay. So x equals -2, 1. Number 4, I would try that on your own. You should get x equals -9 and 3. All right. Moving down, these are almost identical to each other. Let me see. Let's try. Oh, let's keep doing these ones. All right. Multiply to get to 21. So 1 times 21. 3 times 7. Those are it. And it has to add to get to -10. So 3 and 7. If you just add those right now, it's going to be equal 10. So I think those are my 2 answers right here. So make your 2 parentheses equals 0. Begin with x. I'm going to submit 3 and 7. Okay, so it has to equal -10 and +21. Well, negative times a negative is a positive, so they're both going to be negative. X minus 3 equals 0. Add 3 to each side. X equals 3. X minus 7 equals 0. Add 7. X equals 7. So 3 and 7 are your zeros. Number 6, again, almost identical to number 5. Your answer is going to be -4 and 5. Alright, now number 7 is a little bit different because you have a perfect square here. So 25 is a perfect square. In perfect square, what does that mean? You can multiply one number times itself and get whatever this is right here. So because it's a perfect square, I already know it's going to be 5 and 5. But if I didn't know that, I would be 1 times 25 and then 5 times 5. So make your parentheses equal to 0. Begin with x. Put in. Okay, these are going to be, this is going to be multiplied, and this is going to be multiplied, so it's going to be plus plus. So multiply to get to 25, positive 25, and add to get to positive 10. So x plus 5 equals 0. Subtract 5 on both sides. X equals -5. And you're going to get the same thing over here, so it's only 1 0 on this one. So, oops. X equals -5 only, so there's only one 0 on that one. Number 8, almost the exact same thing. So x equals, and this one is just going to be 4. Here, turn the page. These are going to be a little bit different in the way that they are set up. There we go. Alright, so on these ones you're going to notice on number 9, and number 10, 11, and 12. On these ones there is no c, so it's just x squared plus bx, and there is no c, but it is already set to 0. So what you're going to do on these ones is you're going to set or pull out the GCF. So I'm just going to make some notes over here. So you're going to pull out the GCF. So again, what number do they each have in common? So I believe you did this last unit. I hope you were doing this last unit in, I forgot your last unit. Polynomials maybe? Okay, so what does, so there's a 1x squared here, and then a minus, and then an 8x here. So I am going to pull out actually just an x. So they both have an x in common. So pull out your x, and what is left? Okay, so you have x from my x squared, and then I have minus 8 that's left from this term right here. And again, it's going to equal 0. Now I'm going to set each of these equal to 0, so just x equals 0, and then x minus 8 equals 0, so plus 8 plus 8, so x equals 8. So here, my answers are going to be x equals 0, 8. 10 is about the same exact thing. I'll give you the answer, x equals, and it's going to be negative 5 and 0. Do these yourself so you get the same ones, the answers. Number 11, 6 and 12. So 6x squared minus 12x, what do they each have in common? What's the greatest factor that you can pull out of them? And in this one, you can actually pull out a 6 and an x. So I'm going to pull out a 6x in front. And then what is left is going to be in my parentheses. So I'm just going to make a little thing right here. So 6x. So I need an x. And 6 times what is negative 12? And it's going to be negative 2 equals 0. 7 both equal to 0. So 6x equals 0. Divide by 6. That'll be both sides. So x equals 0. X minus 2 equals 0. Plus 2 plus 2. X equals 2. Okay, so your answer is going to be x equals 0, 2. Alright, 12 is about the same exact thing. And again, you're just looking for the GCF. 0. And you're going to get 3/4 in this one. 13. You don't have a B in this one, so now you just have a C. But if you notice your C, 64, that number is a perfect square. Okay, so 9 through 12. So 9 through 12 is a GCF. Okay, 9 through 12, GCF. And then I'm going to say that 13, so if you look at the numbers, so 64, 25, 81, 49, 9, 4, those are all perfect squares. So 13 through 16 are perfect squares. Perfect squares. Alright, so 13. What times what is 64? So obviously it's going to be 8. So it's going to be x plus 8 and x minus 8. Why minus 8? Because it's a negative. So a positive times a negative. It's going to be a negative. It's going to equal 0. So x plus 8 equals 0. And x minus 8 equals 0. Subtract 8. So x equals negative 8. Add 8 on the side. So x equals positive 8. So what are your x's? X is equal to negative 8 and 8. And this one, 14, about the same thing. And you're going to get negative 5 and 5. 15, 4 is a perfect square, and 81 is a perfect square. What times what is 81? 9. And what times what is 4? Is 2. So that's what you're going to do here. So, oh my lord, 2x, so you're going to make, again, 2 parentheses equals 0. So 2x and 2x, because 2 times 2 is 4. X times x is x squared. Negative 81, so now you're going to have a plus and a minus. So if it's a negative, you're going to have a plus and a minus. And then you're going to set them both equal to 0. So 2x plus 9 equals 0. So you're going to subtract 9. So you're going to get 2x equals negative 9. Divide by 2. So here you're going to get x equals negative 9 over 2. And this one, 2x minus 9 equals 0. Add 9. Oops. X plus 9 divided by 2, and you get 9 over 2. So you have x equals negative 9 halves and 9 halves. So 16, again, same thing. You're going to get x equals negative 7 over 3 and 7 over 3. All right. 17 through 22. These are all going to be in standard form. So we have to move, factor, solve. So same exact thing that we were just doing, except for now we have to make this equation equal to 0. We do that by getting this 21, or this number over here, and we have to get it to the left side. And we do that by order of operations, inverse operations. So subtract 21, subtract 21. So now you're going to get x squared plus 4x minus 21. And it's going to equal to 0. Now you're going to factor, and you can factor again using your table, so it has to multiply to get to 21, add to get to 4. 1 times 21, 3 times 7, and if you do something with these ones, you're going to get to 4, so if you subtract them, you're going to get 4. So again, 2 parentheses, x, 3, 7. Look at your sign. So it's a negative 21. So a negative has to be in one of these, and a positive has to be in one of these. So it's a positive 4. So your positive is going to go by 7, and your negative's here. So x minus 3 equals 0. Add 3. So x equals 3. And then if I subtract 7, x equals negative 7. So you're going to get x, negative 7, and 3. 18. You're going to get 6 and 8. 19. Okay, now this time we're going to subtract the 7x. So subtract 7x. And it's going to go over here, and now you're going to combine like terms. I'm going to erase this because I'm not getting enough room. Okay, so again, combine like terms. So x squared, negative 5 and negative 7 together. If you add like terms on this one, you're going to get negative 12, sorry. Minus 64 equals 0. Again, multiply to get to 64, add to get to 12. 1 times 64, 2 times 32, 4, no, 5, no, 4 times 16, and then we have 8 times 8. But if you think about it, 8 times 8, it's a perfect square too, so that's, you always want to just know your perfect squares. Alright, but now it has to add to 12, negative 12, and 8 times 8 does not work, but 4 and 16 do. Make your parentheses. Okay, x, 4, 16. So what can I do with my signs? They're both a negative. Okay, so they have to be, one has to be positive, one has to be negative in order for that to work. And it's a negative 12, so my negative is going to go here, My positive is going to go here. So if I do x plus 4 equals 0, subtract 4, x equals negative 4, and then x minus 16 equals 0, plus 16 plus 16, x equals 16. So you should get x negative 4, 16. Those are your zeros. This one you should get x equals, oh sorry, on this one I told you wrong. Look at the wrong one. 6 and 8 is over here. Number 18, negative 5, it should be a 9. Sorry about that. And then 21, our last one, I'm going to get these two things over here off to the side. So I'm going to subtract x squared, and I'll subtract 8x. So I'm going to subtract 8x and negative x squared. Here I'm going to put my x squared, negative x squared, minus 8x. Sorry. Alright, 11 minus 1, 10x squared, minus 8x equals 0. And again, I'm going to do my GCF here. So GCF, pull something out. So I can pull a 2 and an x. 2x. What is left? Oh my lord. So 5 is left here, and an x, and a negative 4 is left, equals 0. So this one's 2x equals 0, divide by 2, x equals 0, and then 5x minus 4 equals 0, add 4, so I get 5x equals 4, divide by 5, so x equals 4/5. So my answer is x equals 0, 4/5. This one, same way, you're going to get x equals negative 3/4 and 3/4. So try those ones. And then, I don't know, yeah, we will. And then we will make a note card if needed. Let's see if one's needed. Let's see. No, I don't think I'm going to make a note card on this one. So I will just post homework, and if you guys have questions, make sure you guys come to office hours. Talk soon.